Yes, everyone, welcome back. My name is Stephen Howson, and this is 5 things that we learned as Manchester United put Brighton to the sword this weekend. In at number 1 then is forward link-up play. Anthony Martial created 4 chances, grabbing 2 assists. Marcus Rashford got 2 chance creations, and Dan James also put in the big chance that Marcus dragged a little bit wide. That was one of the most difficult shots you're ever going to see, wasn't it? He was 3 yards out. There was no keeper. Should have done better. But the forward link-up play between all of them is looking absolutely sexual at the moment. My favourite part of the entire game yesterday was when David De Gea threw it out, because he does dilly-dally on the ball a little bit too long. He throws it out to the left wing. Marcus Rashford takes it, drives it forward, links up beautifully with Anthony Martial, and we got a shot off. It wasn't a shot that resulted in a goal, but that was some fast, incisive, great attacking play from Manchester United. The link-up play in particular between those two is looking absolutely fantastic. And throw Dan James into the mix, who is really starting to show quality with his delivery, who is really starting to show some dangerous attributes. The reason why opposition are absolutely flooring the guy is because he's looking dangerous. So, great to see from Manchester United. Number 2, is it finally Fred's time? Over the last couple of games, we've really seen Fred start to relax into that role. Is it perhaps since Solskjaer's come out and said Pogba's not even going to be close to being fit until December, and Fred is basically going to be replacing Pogba until then? Did Fred go, oh, I've got a few games to really cement myself into this team here? Did he just relax and then start to play the football that we knew he was capable of? Now, Jose Mourinho did say, once the defence improves, you're going to see the best out of Fred.
Jose Mourinho, I know he's not a particularly popular figure with everyone, but he said last December that once we have a good defence, you'll see the best of Fred.
And maybe that's what we're starting to see, because the defence has started to look a little bit meaner, and we'll get on to McGuire in a second, and perhaps somebody else from the defence too in a second. 9 ball recoveries this weekend from Fred. His passing accuracy is not perfect, and I do want it to be a little bit higher. It's around about 79%. But 3 out of 3 long balls completed, which means that he's actually putting balls into the final third, which is something that I've wanted to see a little bit more of him. All in all, I thought Fred was very tidy. He was very neat, and he actually had a little bit of a quality about him. There was some brilliant one-touch plays that he did, getting out of danger, bailing other people out. His positioning was good, his decision-making was good. So well done, Fred. It's about time we started to see what we paid for. Number 3, Captain McGuire. Is this something that we're going to be seeing going forward? I think there's a bit of a nod that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thinks that McGuire's probably more of a captain, as he chose him to wear the armband over David De Gea this weekend. And he seems to have put in a little bit of a captain's performance as well. I thought he was an absolute rock against Brighton. There were so many times that he just intercepted it prior to the attacker getting hold of the ball. He was solid in defence. He was covering left behind Brandon Williams brilliantly and sweeping up and constantly talking to him as well. He didn't just wear the armband. He epitomised the armband, I thought, in his performance. And I think Harry Maguire is actually showing what we paid for him. I don't think he's been bad in any stretch of the imagination so far this season, but he's been a bit ordinary. I thought the performance yesterday was a step into the very good attaboy kind of territory. So, Harry Maguire, a future Manchester United captain. Let me know in the comments. Number 4, Manchester United vulnerable from corners. Now, if you're paying attention this season, this is not a new thing. We conceded via a cross against Southampton. What happened at Wolves with not closing Neves down, not coming out of the box, that all felt like set-piece instructions, organisation at corners not quite being good enough. And we saw another example of that this weekend, as that's where we conceded against Brighton. Elsewhere, Brighton didn't really trouble us in the slightest in any other area, but from set pieces, United did look a little bit fragile. That's something that United definitely need to work on. It's something that we've been caught out time and time again with this season. I wonder if a change of personnel. Victor Lindelof, he's starting to look like the weak link in this back 4. Is it time for maybe Rojo, or perhaps Axel Tuanzebe once he gets over his injury, to replace him if we want a completely solid back 4? And of course, number 5 can only be the Brandon Williams bandwagon. I'm driving, but there's plenty of room in the back if you want to jump on board. And so many people finally got on board this weekend as Brandon Williams put in a man of the match performance in his full Premier League debut at Old Trafford. He got a standing ovation as he left the pitch. He completed 4 out of 5 tackles. He had 88% pass completion. He nearly got a goal, and he completed 5 ball recoveries. This was about as a complete performance that we've seen from a left-back at Manchester United in years. Is he the best left-back since Paddy Evra? It might be. Teenager from Manchester, putting in the sort of performance that you want. Twice in that game, it came to a head. People tried to get under his skin, and he batted them away. Now, he does react, and he is probably going to pick up way more yellow cards than he's getting goals. And how much the place would have come down if he would have scored that goal yesterday, oh my days. He is a more complete defender going forward than Luke Shaw. I think you could toss a coin on their defensive attributes in terms of 1v1 defending, jockeying and positioning. I think there's not much in it between the two. But I do think Brandon Williams is fitter. And I do think Brandon Williams is probably about as strong. And I definitely think Brandon Williams is quicker. And I'll tell you this for something I know for sure. His attitude is irreproachable. This guy loves Manchester United. He loves playing football. And I think he loves getting into fights as well. But I'm sure we'll see that a little bit later on. Brandon Williams, there is room on the bandwagon bus if you're still not convinced. For me, by the end of the season, Brandon Williams is going to save this club £50 million because we're going to look at that fullback spot and go, well, we don't need to buy anyone for that. He's got the rest of the season to prove that. I don't think he's completely dislodged Ashley Young for I don't know what reasons. I mean, he has in my mind, and hopefully he has in your mind as well. And Luke Shaw's probably going to be given the opportunity to prove what he can do once he returns from injury, and maybe that's the right thing. Maybe that's not the right thing, but I think that will be what happens. But I think by the end of the season, there will be a pecking order of fullbacks, left-backs especially, at this football club. And Brandon Williams will be the top of the list for left-backs. Definitely quote me on that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. If you're in the Patreon group, you will know that we smashed our target for the Manchester Legend and the little meet-up and live podcast that we're doing. If you want to know more about that, because you're not going to see it unless you're in the Patreon group, the link is in the description. We are very close now to activating that Dublin meet-up with a legend and the live podcast that we're going to be doing in Dublin. Smock Alley Theatre is where we're looking at doing it. If you know anything about that, let me know in the comments. And if you would like to know more about that, then you have to go and see the link in the description and come and, do you know what? Make your own mind up. Click the link, have a read, and go, do you know what? Yeah, I fancy that. I'm so very proud that this channel is supported by my community. I would rather have my community support this channel than any sponsor that could find us. And thanks to the Patreon group, that is what's happening. So check it out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe in a bit.